think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust.
And I also just like that he picked like one of the worst villains in action movie history, and just like I'm gonna resurrect him and give him a fucking like a weird retcon story or whatever. Fuck.
Yeah. No, I think it's brilliant. Yeah, Burke is one of the great villains of film history. Like, he's up there with, like, I can't think of any, like fucking Hannibal Lecter, like he's just
he's the corporate guy. He's the embodiment of capitalism, isn't he?
Well, he's the company man, right? Like
he's the guy that's willing to trade lives for money.
Yeah.
Right.
Easily. Without question.
And that's what if you want to be Elon, if you want to be Bezos, that's what you have to be willing to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't. That's dark. But well, I guess that's what they're doing.
That's dark.
I think Burke's like, he's one of those exaggerated representatives of that impulse. But yeah, I'm with you. That's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know why
take it down the ride. What are you gonna apologize for Bezos?
I think I'm gonna apologize for Burke. Maybe is what's happening here. He's not as bad as Bezos.
That's probably fucking true, actually. Burke wouldn't hire a guy to watch you pee.
Burke's not actually a rich man, I don't think. Like, he's the worst part about him.
Rich.
Yeah, he's a middle management. Well, is he trying to get rich? Like, unless it's not clear that he gets a commission on anything.
Yeah, it is. He makes that deal with Ripley at some point, doesn't he? He said, "You know what? If we're smart about this, we can all come out.
A lot of money.
We can all come out rich. All you guys had to do was be smart." Yeah, it was some quote to that effect. I don't know.
That's okay. Well, fine. That's evidence in favor of it, but it could also just be rat fuck talk.
Yeah,
isn't
that? I feel like it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm okay. Cool. And let's we're gonna revisit this issue, this topic of Burke.
Okay. Well, let's shelf this. I'm gonna text Dave at the LCS and tell him, hey, it's got to go in the file.
How many issues? Because I don't know. Well, the new Alien is coming out in August. If I remember correctly, trailer.
Yeah.
Well, what did you say? You just, like, at this point, you just really enjoy when Marvel shits on your chest?
Yes, I did say that exact thing.
You know when Marvel didn't used to shit on your chest, James?
When your boy John Byrne was at the helm.
That's right. That back in the days, those heady days of what? Okay, so back when he was doing Fantastic fucking Four.
Fantastic fucking Four.
So, welcome to the X-tinction Agenda with James and James, and today we're talking John Byrne. We're talking Fantastic Four, and specifically issues 258 to 262, which ran from cover dated September 1983 to January 1984, which is about the time that Aliens was coming out. I forget when Aliens dropped. Please excuse me for that.
But
it's around.
I'm actually not sure either. The second.
Yeah.
I know the 79 for the first one, but
86. Ugh. Okay, so this predates. You know what? Fine.
Predates Aliens. We can't see any influences of Aliens in it, actually.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of aliens in this book, but it's a different. The facehuggers couldn't exist in John Byrne's Fantastic Four universe, I don't think.
No.
That sort of cosmic darkness that's not at play here.
So is John Byrne the writer and artist?
Yeah, writer, artist, inker, and then the color lettering are by someone else, Glynis Wein and Jim Novak, respectively. And at this time he also does Alpha Flight. I don't know how that's possible for a human man to do, and also to produce like I don't know what you thought, but I thought these were really good comics on a basic level of cartooning and even like action adventure. I think some of the stories that he does a little bit later have some really exceptional scenes to it, but this is pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun, and he you can see there's some scenarios where he omits backgrounds, but I feel like his I don't know. I feel like his expressions and his forms and the scenescapes that he was asked to traverse over the course of this adventure, or that not asked to, that he came up with, like, I'm gonna go from this location in Latveria or whatever to this fucking little house in Scotland to space.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a lot. So I mean, like, I was pleasantly surprised with the art, actually. If you can stand the old timey look, that specific look that his art has. I wanted to give a shout out to a friend of the podcast, Andrew, who is an avid listener and who doesn't care for John Byrne's art, I don't think. So.
Not at all, huh? So we've talked about John Byrne in the past, and I'm a big Byrne head, man. I burn for the Byrne, but not post Man of Steel. Like anything post Superman, like I guess like 89. I think he's all played out. I think I'm all done with him. He gets a little distended in his who's the Ditko. He starts doing a lot of Ditko, and I'm like, oh, that's not for me exactly. But I think at this period, he's really, I don't think you get, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I don't think you get Jim Lee without John Byrne. Jim Lee's art is reminiscent of, Neil Adams and also John Byrne. This guy, it's difficult to, like, you've got to go back in time and start looking at what comics looked like in 83. This is I'm not going to say revolutionary, but it's modern. This is the hot shit. He was doing X-Men, and I know you weren't like a super fan of the Dark Phoenix saga, to say the least. I don't think either of us were, but I think that collaboration with Claremont really wasn't to his strengths.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, because this seems to be like a passion project. And I mean, there's some weird moments like Namor.
Oh yeah, and his weird head.
Why is he drawing him like that?
But
I don't know, the Thing, the action, Tyros. Anyway, I guess we should give like a. Can you even summarize actually what's happening here? Because I don't know that I can.
Over these issues? Okay. Well,
yeah.
Just to rewind for 1 second to talk about the passion project thing. He did the Fantastic Four, writing and drawing most issues. He had a fill-in issue from, after a while, but 1981 to 1986. So he did like 60 issues. And he only kind of left because like Jim Shooter started getting weird over at Marvel. So what happens? Okay, so the first issue is Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom, and I'm just going to do like the broad outlines of the plot here, but like Dr. Doom gets an ex-herald of Galactus, pumps him up with cosmic power, and sends him off to attack the Fantastic Four. Terrax, the Terrible, whatever, the Herald of Galactus, he goes over and beats up what elements of the Fantastic Four. Dr. Doom realizes that Reed Richards isn't going to be there. And so he calls off the fight, but Terrax says, no, I won't call off the fight, and Dr. Doom is revealed to be a fucking idiot. He still manages to survive, even though he is almost killed. I didn't read the Alpha Flight issue where Sue goes to help Namor fight the undersea whatever. I just skipped all that.
I skipped that too.
Yeah, and so then after that, it's like... Meanwhile, Sue is trying to like rent a house. She's pregnant with their second child, and so she's trying to get a house in the suburbs. Reed is missing. It's discovered that Reed has been transmatted out of the galaxy by, the Silver Surfer was just kind of hanging around, and he's like, I saw a matter transplant thing, and oh my god, it's Reed. So they go. The Watcher helps them find Reed Richards. He's in the Shi'ar Empire. There's a trial of Reed Richards regarding the rescue of Galactus. The end. That's that's what we read.
That's a good plot synopsis, but you didn't. Yeah, there's so many things that happen in between all that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, so I'll tell you one thing. This is my first brush with like real Doctor Doom. I don't have a lot of Doctor Doom books. I don't read them. You know what? It's not that I don't like him. I always find him interesting when I see like iterations of him. But I mean, like, you can get pretty standard, like if you do the movie, any movie has failed. And they've all been, there's just like a tone that they take that he's just like a narcissist or whatever. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like, you can see that in this, but this has a different undertone. Like, this is a madman, like, to me.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is the first issue of issue 258, which is devoted to Doctor Doom as a character in and of himself. And I don't know about the history of Doctor Doom's, whether or not this has ever occurred before in the past. But this is it. This is where Doctor Doom ultimately comes from. Like, there's the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Doctor Doom, and then there's this guy. And I think everybody has been riffing off of this issue of issue 258 for like ever since. Like, this is finally we're getting a villain that's fleshed out in the same way that Magneto's getting fleshed out at this time as a Holocaust survivor, et cetera, et cetera. All these Silver Age villains are being reinterpreted in a quote unquote modern fashion.
So he has a child. I don't understand that.
I don't. I think it's explained in one of the many captions, but I think he's adopted. He has an adopted child, Christoph.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. And he basically like just sort of teaches him the way of the world through his own eyes, which is just like unleashing terror on his kingdom, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, it's subtle. Like, it's a little subtle at first. Like, he blows up one of his robots for being like not a good robot. That's the first act of violence.
Yeah, that's weird. A weird choice too, because you would think you could just reprogram a robot. But
well, you want to know why that happened though? There's a backstory behind this, like, robot being blown up. So it says, like, robot, why do you have a mark on your shoulder? It's like, the human arcade struck a match there during our recent confrontation with the mutant X-Men, sire. So this is John Byrne seeing an X-Men comic and saying, like, Dr. Doom wouldn't allow himself to be bitched out like that. So it had to be a robot that was there. And this is Doom punishing the robot because he doesn't get bitched out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And also, it's a good story moment to show, like, yeah, the violence of Doctor Doom without, like, at first it describes, like, he's got his kingdom, right? And everything's being rebuilt, and it's all happy Latverian fucking peasants, and they're digging and they're happy, they're working, everybody's working, and it's peaceful. And then I don't know, something about Doctor Strange, but who cares about that? And then he's hanging out with a kid. What could be better than hanging out with a kid? What kind of bad person hangs out with kids?
He's not that bad, really. I mean,
yeah. Well, no, he's pretty bad.
Well, he has his pervert robots to put his armor on, and then he comes up with that Terex, the terrible plan. But he, like, this mad scientist dude that he has hired to help him build, like, evil devices, like ones that pump the power cosmic into you, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he was gonna try to get rid of Doom, and he paid a really grotesque price.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, that's drawn so well. Screams with every last atom of breath in his tortured lungs. Screams until he drowns out the awful noise of the machine. Screams until there's nothing left with which to scream. Tisk, tisk, poor Hauptmann. Yeah, it's really fucking great.
And the robot's like, yo, master.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. But then he explains. He's like, I suspected Hauptmann for a while, and if it was going to work, he would have used it. And if it wasn't going to work, he was going to try to use it to kill me. So.
And his kid was foolish by saying that Magneto's power rivals his own, and he had to discipline his child. He did not strike his child, though. He's not a bad guy.
Lifted him up straight up in the air, though, and screamed in his face. That's
you know what? His kid was an idiot.
It's a legitimate form of abuse.
Okay, it was a bit of child abuse. But back then it was a fairly tame form of child abuse from a madman murderer.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like,
I'm saying if I'm talking about Doctor Doom, who probably has killed maybe thousands of people, that I would not constitute that as child abuse from him.
By his standards. No, yeah, he just yelled, he just like foolish mortal.
Yeah, because he's insane. He's not, the way that he talks to himself, like he's the king of the world and has his little robots put his armor on for him, and he's fucking bizarre. Like, I didn't actually imagine Doctor Doom was as bizarre. Like, I feel like a lot of people attribute, like, a lot of coolness to Doctor Doom. He's not cool. He's like he's like the king of England that wears like a pervert suit and like seeks out like magic and powers. Like, he's a weird fucking guy. Like, he's not neat at all.
Yeah, and yet he is, right? I really love Doctor Doom as a villain, but you're right. He's weird. He's fucked up. He's a fucked up. But you texted me and you were like, I never got Doctor Doom before I read this, and I was like, yes, exactly, because me neither. And I think that experience of like so many people.
It's true. That was missing from a lot. We touched on a few things here and there, but like that this was really missing from my knowledge base, is that I just don't, and I don't get it still. Like, I don't understand why people gravitate to Doctor Doom, and I think it's because they don't understand what he's about. Because if they did, I don't know that they'd feel like he was that cool, because he's not. He's fucking bizarre.
Well, he's pathetic to an extent.
He is, yeah.
Power on Earth, no intellect. Yeah.
He's like surrounds himself with like robots that basically do whatever he wants, and then just tells himself he's awesome. He's sad.
I think he has a lot in common in that way, and I don't know if this has anything to do with. It's interesting that Byrne has, he's written Superman and also the Fantastic Four, and he's obviously for that reason tackled Lex Luthor and also Doctor Doom, and they, those two characters have the same problem in that they're like really, really awesome, but they're pathetic in their motivation. Like deeply pathetic in their motivation and in their like really petty execution of whatever their plans are. Like, it's not good enough to take over the world. You gotta show Superman that he's not actually that super. You have to show Reed Richards that actually you're the supreme intellect of the planet Earth.
Yeah, this ends up being like hilariously like dumb.
Oh, so super fucking! I was really disappointed, because I'll tell you what, I've read and I own a copy of this first issue, 258. I never got around to seeing what happened with 259, and then like I couldn't tell you how disappointed I am.
This was Doctor Doom's like mega plan. It's very. The only way I can describe him is I find him very Skeletor-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
That's the closest villain I could attribute him to, and that's laughable. And his plan is laughable and mad. And Tyro's the terrible. So he gets like a B. Why was this guy in the hospital? Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, right?
And why was he in a human hospital? Like, what was the plan when this guy got out of his body casts? he would have been a menace. People would have been like killed in downtown New York. Like they weren't keeping a fucking good eye on him.
No, it's stupid. He's purple. Like the doctors are like, they're like, I don't even know if he's speaking English, and you're like, he's purple. You guys like try to draw blood from this guy. Did the needles work?
Yeah, he's 700 pounds. and he's a fucking alien. He's a space alien.
So so they've just been like taking care of him at the hospital. How's our John Doe today? Where the fuck is Nick Fury? Is he not paying attention? Where's Reed Richards? Where like this?
Well, wasn't Iron Man and Captain America in the hallway?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but that's because the Thing was there. Because he's in the hospital.
Oh, like they just weren't paying attention that Tyros the Terrible was on life support in there? Whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tyros the Terrible has big plans where he normally was Terrax. Well, no, before he was Terrax, he looks like he was like a Conan the Barbarian, sort of like pervert. And on his planet, all the women are bald like him.
They've all got these
and they do like a lot of titty shows for him while he drinks out of a horn. So that's epic. And then he got turned into Terrax the Tamer, which is the power cosmic, and he was equivalent to the Silver Surfer, basically, right?
Somewhat good design. I like that. I love when that Rocky thing, like his weird vest and crotch thing, or the lapel, like the shoulder pads and the crotch thing. We could do without that. But I always really like that when the skin is turned into some sort of cosmic rock, like kind of thing.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I actually had an action figure of Terrax when I was little. That I was very, very, very fond of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. Where the fuck did you get that? Okay.
I don't know.
Well, these were a weird place. I guess the 80s too.
Yeah.
So he angers Galactus and loses the power cosmic, and then falls down to Earth. And I guess is put in a body cast and kept in hospital until now. When did all this occur? Usually there's a little thing that tells us. Check out issues something, but must have happened relatively recently. Maybe it was also a John Byrne extravaganza.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So then,
anyway,
what happens is that Dr. Doom puts him in a perv suit, gives him the power cosmic back, and puts him on a Green Goblin glider to go fight the Fantastic Four. Well, Sue shops for a house. That was I don't know. She's apparently trying to just like put Reed up in like a fucking colonial home somewhere just because she's pregnant.
Well, she is pregnant. She can't go fighting a bunch of and get the shit kicked out of her while she's having a baby. So.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But like, I don't know why she's talking about Reed in her mind, because he's not going to be there.
He is a little absent. I don't want to apologize for Reed in this because he is. Well, actually, I little do, because like one of the reasons I wanted to talk about the Fantastic Four, is because of Civil War and the depiction of Reed there, and I was like, maybe Reed needs a fair shake, or maybe I need a fair shake about Reed.
This is not the book to pick for that.
Yeah, well, why not?
You liked his qualities in this book?
Well, okay, well, I guess we'll get there, but
okay,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess
whether I liked his qualities or not is kind of beside the point. Like, is he an authoritarian monster who would clone Thor? Not in this book, right? He's the guy that saved Galactus, because he's got some, like
a high moral value. Featuring Einstein quotes.
Yeah. Exactly. And his absence from these issues, like, not to be a Reed apologist, but he did get kidnapped into space, and Sue is not yet aware of that. So it's not like he's.
Yeah, true. He's kind of being tortured right now.
Yeah, right. He's kind of in a giant grinding machine. and she doesn't know that.
So the Thing's pretty impressive in this. He kind of fucking mugs this guy.
Oh, in the cab?
Yeah, after the cab, like he gets Terax. Like, I don't know, he takes a real beating.
Yeah, that's the best part about the Thing, is his capacity to just, like, even though he's not the toughest guy, it's clobbering time. Like, I'm never gonna, throughout my entire life, I'm always gonna be happy when the Thing yells clobbering time and smashes someone. Also, I love the Thing's design. I like to see how people draw the Thing, all those shadows and stuff. The only superhero that I ever actually tried to draw as a kid was like the Thing, because I was just really mesmerized by those little squares and stuff.
Those little rock plates.
Yeah,
like the most difficult thing to draw that I could possibly think of.
Yeah, and I did this for a period of time. I think it was when I don't know, I guess.
I recall when we first met that you would still draw the Thing once in a while.
Okay, well, good for me. All right, yeah. So I did. It's the only thing I really like to draw. And so I guess maybe I'm fascinated by just like how they depict it, because it's a weird, but it's cartoonish and friendly. I know that's kind of a stupid thing to say. Like he's kind of like a big grouch.
It's true. Yeah. He is the most friendly of big guys.
Yeah.
Actually, Marvel had a bit of a problem with friendly big guys.
What do you mean?
Like I feel like a lot of the big guys in this era were friendly. A strong guy.
Strong guy, yeah. Well, that's the early '90s, though. I mean,
yeah. Colossus friendly?
Colossus is a gentle, he's a poet, but he's not friendly. He's more of has an attraction to a 15-year-old kind of guy.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
See,
that
was also okay back then, like child abuse.
It was dealt with in a mature fashion. No, it really was, actually. He was like, he ends up like, sorry, we're getting far afield here.
Yeah, that's called grooming. Let's wait till you're 18. Bourgeois.
All right. It's not his fault. I mean, he's out in the edges of space. They're fighting.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Listen, he's in the X mansion, and the pickings are slim.
Yeah, just wait. So you're not jailbait.
Fuck.
All right, maybe I'll just jump.
That's good. Well, you know what? Whatever. That's an X-Men story for another time.
Yeah. Oh, the Brood Saga. Jesus. Yeah. So the Thing takes a beating. It's awesome. I like these getting to John Byrne's like simple capacities as an action adventure cartoonist. I like some of these basic, like his panel layouts are very nothing breaks the edges. He doesn't do that. Everything takes place in a frame. And I know that's not very modern, that's not very hip, but it's clear. And
yeah, it's clean. Also, like splitting a cab in half and then smashing a guy on a goblin glider in the face with half of a taxi cab, and then wrapping him up in a ball with all the remaining metal, and then getting smashed by like earth powers. It doesn't sound like it should be easy to draw and come out really cleanly, but wow.
Yeah.
Like
waves of dirt and the concrete's getting ripped up and stuff.
Unreal. And then just smash them through a grocery store. Beautiful. There's a real joy to checking out this kind of art, and I was like kind of lukewarm on Byrne, but this is pretty great.
Yeah, and the exception to my statement where like the action is within the frame, he's like, do your worst, and then there's that like series of panels, but it's like wham, and he's like that's the grocery.
Yeah, I really dig that panel.
Yeah, and it's funny
Yeah,
Just
it's
like
hilarious.
in comparison to all the scene up until this point, he's just getting thrown through a grocery store, through a ShopRite.
Yeah, and that transitions over to Johnny, who I don't. Why does Johnny have his own apartment? Manhattan.
Well, and everybody's moving out. I guess these people are rich. And the Fantastic Four, they're a family. You know, they're moving out. They're doing stuff. Mostly, I'm like, what is John Byrne drawing with this girl that he's with? It looks like Janine from the Ghostbusters in a princess costume, of some sort. Like, I don't. Are they meant to be? Are they meant to look young? Are they meant to look hip?
Probably, I guess.
Yeah.
Johnny with the drop in there too. Hey Sharon, you're looking good. How are you? It's like
She's got those huge glasses. She looks
yeah.
homeless though. Like at the
Yeah,
end of the day,
it's like a mullet. She's got like a wolf mullet.
yeah. Like I'm sure he's looking at pictures and stuff and like photo reference, and his wife was a photographer. I don't know what, I only learned that like prior to us talking, so I don't know what she was photographing, but there's a lot of visual reference here. He does draw, like he does have sort of something resembling a naturalistic style. Um,
Johnny
yeah,
leaves her there anyway, and she goes, "Oh
yeah,
fuck."
yeah, right. Isn't it a real emergency? Damn. Yeah, that's right. She swears.
Yeah,
She
she was trying to
really
get
wants.
some.
Yeah.
And then Sue goes after. Well, she realizes she's been caught by Doom.
Yeah, but for no good fucking reason. She's just driving around in her little cube, her little fantastic cube, and she gets sucked into the mothership for some reason.
Well, Doom's a pervert for Sue, isn't he? Generally, like in stories.
Oh no, not like Namor.
He no, like not in a good way. Doesn't he just kind of want her to bow down?
I
Like
don't know.
accept that Doom's the supreme being, and then he'd be like, "I'll spare you, Sue, to be my wife."
I don't know about the wife part, but maybe you're right. Maybe like if you really wanna show that you're the smartest guy, you better like, yeah. One way to get the other fella is to get his wife or whatever. And I guess that must be part of it. I had thought you a lady, but if you insist on speaking like a kitchen wench, I'll treat you as one.
Nice. So she gets slapped, but it's revealed to be a Doom bot because why? Dr. Doom's not abusive. Not really. Not too abusive.
I like how the Doom bots allow for like all sort of apologetic talk. Like it was bad program, man. It was like ChatGPT. I'm
Dr.
pretty
Doom,
sure
forgive me for not coming personally to welcome you.
Doom beats women for sure. He's
You got slapped by that Doom bot. Totally wasn't me.
Yeah. I guess he doesn't even apologize for it, does he? He's like used one of your Doom bots against us like last time. You know me better than that, woman. I simply find it undignified for a monarch to engage in such menial physicality. So he's like, he's not apologizing at all. Like he's like,
no, he's saying I would slap you myself.
Yeah,
but that's unbecoming of a grand fucking ruler or whatever.
My true power lies in the strength of my intellect and how I use it to guide others. And he's like stroking his chin.
Listen to this shit.
Yeah.
That's whack talk.
And she's like, and wonderful, such fire, such unguised strength. I applaud you, Susan Richards. And he's just got like a boner the entire time. The purpose of this is to show that, like, so one of the things that Byrne does, and I alluded to this in our Civil War talk as well, is like Sue becomes the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four. And Doom's kind of writing off, you know, like he's signing that check in this speech that he's giving. But I still don't understand, like, why is he playing this game? He's like, you can go after me, Sue, or you can go help your friends. Choose. Like, why, man?
Well, he said it, didn't he say it? He said, choice is yours. Hang on.
Well, he's making a choice.
Or you can go to their aid, remembering that always to do so is to flee from doom, to acknowledge him as your master.
Yeah.
So it's like you acknowledge me as the boss of the world by running away to help your friends and family. It's like some weird, like, that's so dumb. That's not the case. It's just made up. It's like a school. It's like a schoolyard bully. It's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, if you jump off this platform, you acknowledge that I'm the god of the world.
No, it's like
no.
It's like a flame war on Reddit or something. Like, oh, you're too fucking frightened to fucking argue with me. Like, obviously I'm right, and it is all about. But to put her in that situation, like it was just
annoying.
It's annoying and it's unnecessary. It's grandstanding, and what makes it worse, or funnier, is that, and we'll get to Namor with his big fucking head in a second, is that when Doom finally shows up, because like Reed Richards hasn't shown up, like Terex, like he shows up in person for one. Don't know why he does that, and then Terex freezes, like he fuses all of his armor together, so he's left standing there like a fucking asshole. Just like,
yeah, like Terex never exhibited that power one time during a 2-hour fight with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he has the power to weld Dr. Doom's suit together with whatever shock awesome powers. Doesn't make any sense.
And the art's getting a little, like, Byrne's tired in this issue. He needs a break. Things are looking a little rough in comparison to the previous issues. It's the things aren't defined, and it's looking cross-hatchy.
That right cross from Doom was clean too.
Oh yeah, it comes in. Oh, yeah, and you could very much see, like. But then, of course, it's the worst thing in the world. I don't know if you've ever experienced this in your sort of martial arts existence. Where someone, like, this mostly happens on the ground, but like someone will grab your wrists and hold you down like they're like your girlfriend or something. My fucking arms, fuck. And
it's true. And it takes you like. It would take you a second to like adjust to it, but if they're bigger and stronger, you can get caught in a position that's so fucking annoying.
It's terrible. It's the absolute worst. And so Terex just pulls out that classic maneuver on Dr. Doom.
The worst part of that particular maneuver is that there's nothing that either person can do. Like,
when wrists are
the person pinning you down by your wrists.
Yeah.
Can't do anything else.
Yeah.
While they're holding your wrists.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
There is a maneuver that can be done to like force, like you can. Fuck, I've had this happen to me. It's embarrassing.
Me too.
You can do a thing where you end up like pinning the arms behind the guy's head, and like with one arm managing to maintain the pin behind the head and still able to do something with the other arm. And then you're fully emasculated, and it's terrible. Fortunately, Doom
that's actually never happened to me.
Oh, it's awful. It's the worst.
I've been able to weasel out
once before. He was so strong and so skilled, and I was like, I couldn't even believe that it was happening to me.
This is the worst. This is what it feels like. You know?
This is it. This is how Doom felt. But for him, it's just like he's stuck like a fucking statue. And then the Silver Surfer shows up.
The best is the fucking quote from Terex. You remain a monument to your own stupidity.
Until it pleases me to grant death. Yeah.
Sweet release of death. Yeah, and he's just standing there like a fucking dick.
Yeah. Just there's a crowd around. Everybody's watching. Yarg!
Silver Surfer comes and grabs him by the beard like a bitch.
And so the fight's going on, and I love that, like, I don't know what Byrne's thinking when he's drawing this. Like, this is so undignified. Like, your ultimate villain is just revealed to be so pathetic. And he's thinking himself, like, he's just standing there thinking all these
He's just standing there thinking up a storm, standing there like an asshole with his arms up in the air.
There's like a contingency I had not calculated, he says.
What? No shit.
Dummy.
They didn't account for this one. And there's a crowd of people holding groceries, just like staring at him standing like that.
That's Aunt May.
What's Aunt May doing out there? Gonna get killed.
Well, she's just having, and she's like, oh, if my nephew is here, give you a piece of his mind.
Doom's actually he's delusional too. Dr. Doom is not helpless. Oh yeah, you are.
The conditions are far from ideal, but it is. Yeah, it's
idiot.
Yeah, so this was so disappointing. From that first issue where you were like, you got kind of a King Solomon Doom, who's also a madman, who's wily, who you believe can rule Latveria, and Latveria makes sense too. In that first issue, you're like, oh, okay, I see why there's a Kingdom of Doom, because he treats his subjects well, in that dichotomy between, like, he's a good ruler, but a maniacal madman who is desperate to just, like, cuck Reed. And that, that's I mean, maybe that's not cool, but I mean, like, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
It's gone here.
No, yeah, it's gone. Like, this is a scenario that is so dumb that
unbelievably dumb.
Like, Tony Stark would never even have this happen to him.
I think it would, but it would be played to comedic effect. And it must have. Like,
maybe that's why I would give it a pass then.
Yeah, but this isn't played to comedic effect. Like, it's like,
well,
it's funny. It's fucking, like, I don't think that Byrne's capable of comedy. I know that because he did, like, She-Hulk or whatever. But the joke is only there if you're, I don't know. Like, we find
it's not laugh out loud funny. It's just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just think he's not trying to tell a joke, I guess is the point. It's funny, but I'm not sure that he's trying to make us laugh with this, and I think that's sad. Or he's just doing it badly, and, like, I don't think this is a strong comic, this particular issue, and I'm not, like, making excuses for, like, I think this whole scenario is fucking dumb. But the art's so rushed and rough in comparison to what we've seen before that I don't know, like, this is the monthly grind and he's stuck with it, and so this is the best he could come up with. And you, like, kind of weird to say, but you could have done better, John. You could have done a lot better. Very easily.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah.
This is when the Silver Surfer intervenes too.
Yeah. Right. And that's cool, man. Like, I like that power cosmic fight shit. And at the heart of that universal fire, Tyros. It's just, unfortunately, it's drawn like shit.
Oh, I thought that was an awesome panel.
Oh, well, it is, but I think honestly, I think that's mostly the colorist. But think about what we're looking at, like how many marks on the page are required. Like, very few in comparison to what we've seen in the past. Like, look, remember when the dude got the scientist guy? Like, flip back to the scientist guy, him getting evaporated by that same power. Very fucking cool. Very detailed. Very specific. This is very abstract and, like, a late Frank Miller kind of thing, but
yeah, it's true, actually, now that you say it.
Yeah. And it's just, I'm not going to say it's lazy because he's doing the monthly fucking grind, but I think this is the monthly grind producing a comic that's not at the same level. It comes out of the molten lava. I just think, like, oh man, there's a lot of images in this that I think could have really been fucking exceptional. But I think he was saving his juice for what we get next, which is the trial of Reed Richards.
Oh yeah.
He seems to pull out all the stops on the stupidest thing possible. That's another thing about. I don't know what's motivating John Byrne with all of this. Like, God bless him. I feel that way about John Byrne all the time. Anytime I read his stuff, I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Like, this is so much work. You want to write and draw and ink this? To what end?
Was it norm to have somebody else do parts of that at this time?
What do you mean?
Or was it more common to be a one man show?
No, it was extremely uncommon. No, I can't think of another example off the top of my head, like other than Frank Miller. And even then, Frank's not inking himself. You know,
No, true.
Yeah, not his like mainstream stuff. Even Dark Knight Returns or whatever. Like, I think there's the level of control freak that is required for this, and I guess like honestly, preternatural talent and ability required for this is unique to John Byrne. You'd have to probably go back to the 1950s to find anyone doing it different. I'm sure there's examples that I'm not thinking of, but they're very rare.
This spot that we're at now, like right now that we're talking about, this is when the book got really weird, where the Thing has that like flashback of them getting their powers, which I really like, especially if you're not a big Fantastic Four fan. It just gives you a little sort of a quick little snippet, like almost like a little mini origin story sort of told as a flashback while they go into space travel.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
I thought that was neat, and also I thought the placement of it's very unique. Usually it's just given as like a prologue, but in this case it's just sort of like fitted in as like sort of a traumatic flashback for the Thing, which is just cool.
Well, because they're blasting off into space, and he's like, "This is just like when we last blasted off into space, and it turned me into a goddamn monster."
Yeah, exactly. Which is, yeah, I don't know. I just like it. I thought it was neat. Thought it was a good tactic, and also nice placement. And then, what do when they have a problem? They just go straight to the Watcher's house. What?
Fucking right, man.
Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to my home. Like, does anyone want a beer? Come again?
It is it's fair. Like, and like it's Sue Storm. Well, I guess I forget. It's explained. I don't think
you can make an excuse for this.
Well, she said she like called it like she has a plan. The thing about let's assume that Reed Richards is the smartest guy on the planet Earth. Right. Whatever. Right? He's got the exception select. Sue Storm has to keep up with him. Like, she can't just be like a dotty housewife. Can't just be like she is, but
she could have that Gok 5000.
Maybe that's what's going on, right?
I don't know. No, I know. Yeah, she is. Yeah. She's also a genius. She's at least capable of operating as tech.
Yeah.
The Thing's a crack pilot.
Yeah, they're all explorers. Like, the only one who's a piece of shit is fucking Johnny Storm. He's absolutely.
Oh, are you really gonna
flies off? So they go to the Watcher's house and they're like, what does the fucking do? And he's like, I can't wait to just fly in there. And he ends up in another dimension, wondering how the fuck he's gonna get home. Have you never been on an adventure before, Johnny? Is this your first fucking rodeo? Luckily, the Watcher just brings him back from whatever Dimension X he accidentally flew into, like a nincompoop.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the Watcher's. But I just like, you can't just go to the Watcher's house. That doesn't track for me. I don't accept this.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it is a to be fair, a stretch.
Unconventional choice. That's fine. Anyway, like, from what I gather here, he beams them onto a ship and then sort of acts as their attorney.
Yes, yeah, he does. Yeah, and it's okay. So the this was in the captions. So it says there was an event. Remember back in the days when Marvel Comics used to do like a monthly event or DC Comics, it would be like, we're doing Villains Month, or we're doing this month or this month. Back
Yeah, I
in
think so.
yeah, way back when. So this is in 1984. This was a month or a year in which they had Assistant Editors Month, and they told weird fucking stories because it was Assistant Editors Month, and they would have weird covers, and the stories were really offbeat. And that's where this comes from. It's part of a company-wide gimmick, I think, which is why John Byrne himself shows up in the fucking comic.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's the next step here is that we're gonna just randomly break the fourth wall, right?
Yeah, but it's, you see it in the corner. Hey guys, I know it's Assistant Editors Month, but let's not do anything too crazy, huh? Okay, loving kisses. Yeah, the conceit is that John Byrne does Fantastic Four comics in the Marvel universe, fucks it up all the time, and his editor Mike Higgins or whatever is in charge in this instance, and so it's they break the fourth wall in a gimmick episode, but so fine. There's no excuse for it other than it's a gimmick. Like, I'm not going to argue.
No,
right.
It's really silly, and it's also like really like it's the equivalent of giving yourself a blowjob. It's like I'm gonna stretch this fucking situation into the dumbest fucking like exercise in like ego. I don't know. I don't care.
I'm fine. Like, you know what? No one in comics is going to disagree with what you're saying right now. As far as I know, like, John Byrne has a tremendous reputation for being an egotistical shithead.
Is that right?
So,
well, you couldn't.
Yeah. Surprise.
I don't know anything about him, but looks like I picked up on that pretty easy based on this ludicrous fucking delivery of. I will say it's unique. But yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know. Like, just jerking himself off.
Yeah, like, he doesn't need, like, it's not required. It's not even close to required. But, and this whole story, it kind of like negates itself by the end. So all these okay, so in a previous issue in the John Byrne run, I don't remember the fucking story, but basically Galactus shows up and he's all weak, and then all the heroes of Earth beat him. They beat the shit out of him, and he collapses. And then I haven't read the issues, but basically Reed does something to save his life. And then the Shi'ar Empire, like Lalandra, shows up and, like, if he kills another fucking planet, you're going to be held responsible, Reed. And then he eats another planet, right? And so, there's
it just so happens to be all the Skrulls, which super benefits Earth.
It really does. Yeah, like, and lots of other people too, like,
because they're shitty fucking shapeshifter invaders, and they had to go.
I think, even what does it say? Like, evil though the Skrulls may be, it still seems a crime too horrible to even. I like the sort of racism that's implied in all of that. It's a race of evil fucking people, and he looks all sheepish. He's like, "Oh, I hope I did the right thing." And so, so this is like, it's stupid. It's like, ultimately this comic is about Reed Richards, and it's about Galactus, and it's about the choice of saving Galactus, and it's about saving the face of Reed Richards in the face of that choice. So they probably got a bunch of fan letters, like, Reed saved the genocider, like, what if he, you can
Jesus
pick your analogy. It's probably, there's something to it. And in this, Byrne tries to turn it into sort of a metaphysical argument. And we don't have to evaluate that metaphysical argument. Like, basically, like, the universe has an order. Galactus exists. Therefore, the universe has an order.
And then that's when Reed goes, "Yes, I'm guilty of healing Galactus or whatever." But he's not guilty. You can't be guilty by association. Like, he didn't kill all those people. he just healed the deity, basically. Like, that's not you can't be. They're just scapegoating him. There's no legal grounds for this, which is pretty much what he starts with, and then he gets a little preachy.
Well, I guess maybe here's the counter argument. I like why the fuck does Odin show up as a major witness, right? Oh, they're like,
the Allfather.
Yeah. But basically, like, okay, so well, is it not kind of like Reed repairing an atomic bomb, a living atomic bomb? Let's say the atomic bomb is a little hungry, he's a little sick, he's probably going to die. At the end of the day, though, he's an atomic bomb. His purpose is to blow up and kill a lot of people. And Reed's like, "Oh, you poor atomic bomb. I really hope you're okay." And he'll go off, and then he goes off, right?
Yeah, I guess it's like healing Thanos a little bit.
It's a little, yeah, but and I guess that's where the metaphysical argument comes in. Like, Galactus hungers, right? Whereas Thanos has some sort of like perverted. He doesn't hunger so much as lust, right? I think that's maybe a little different. It's a different motivation. I think though that I don't know what Byrne's purpose is in this, other than to like really sign off on some sort of Darwinian progressivism, where like the only way to become better is through perseverance and genocide. Like, you must be tested, and then if you don't, like, and if you're not tested, if you don't pass the test, you're fucking obliterated. And this is part of the universal order. And if it's eliminated from the universe, it's a bad. And I like that's weird. That's a weird stand to take. And like, you don't have to put that lipstick on that pig, man. It's okay. It's a comic book. But that's the choice he made. Yeah. And in doing so, the purpose of doing so, though, is to paint Reed Richards in the greatest light possible, as a rational man who, through logic and compassion, chooses the greater good above like anyone else's other thinking. Like, this is a tribunal of individuals. Like, how could you be a monster? And getting to your point about the Civil War, like, there's resonances there. Like Reed's capacity to like buck against the crowd for what he feels is the greater good, even if it involves mass murder. That maybe that resonates more than I was willing to accept before. But
that's the high IQ.
Yeah, I think that's the anti-intellectual bias within American society, which is a different thing. Like, that high IQ doesn't mean you're a globalist. This Reed Richards is like, I just don't see him creating a fucking death camp, right?
That's true.
He might sign off on like the nature is red in tooth and claw, and I can't do anything about that. Whatever. I think that too is a flawed position, but this Reed is not like that. The only reason he saved Galactus is because you're supposed to save a life. You're supposed to help someone when they need help. Their house is on fire. You give them some water, and so be it beyond that.
That simple.
Yeah. And that's a little more like, maybe that's a little more fair to the character than Mark Millar was in that instance. And maybe we can like put Tony on trial some other day. But Tony's a piece of shit, and like, his actions made more sense to me. But I will always resent Civil War for creating the Reed Richards that it created. That's not my Reed Richards. This is my Reed Richards. And maybe there's some resonances between the two, but I there's not an identity between the two. I can't accept it.
Yeah. I don't think so either. This trial is a shit show. There's like a lizard.
Fucking Eternity shows up. It's fucking stupid. Some guy wants to shoot Galactus. He pussies out. What was the point of that?
Oh man, he was so sad too. He just second guessed himself and just threw in the towel.
Yeah, a whole page of nothing. A lot of choices going on here.
He flies up. They even have a bubble. Resolve weakens. Oh, and he flies away, digested. Should have shot himself.
He really should have. Yeah, and that point, he's drawn all weird too. Like it was really pointless. But it just kind of goes to show that like everything. What is it meant to show? It's just like all these people are like really pissed off at Galactus and his actions, and when push comes to shove, they're not going to do a goddamn thing. When the Mac Daddy shows up, it's all bullshit talk. And maybe that's appropriate. You know, he's a cosmic force. Like, he's a force of nature. Like, these people
Absolutely.
could be a hurricane. Fucking hurricanes. I wish we didn't have them.
He's able to give powers equivalent to Superman's, just so that you can fly around for him and scout like places for him to eat.
Yeah.
It's a high level of power. It's something else. Then that blasted bird lady turned up and queered the whole deal.
Oh,
that's one of the speech bubbles when Lil Andrew rolled in.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. Sorry. I think also in the same way that we're getting an origin story of or a redefinition of Doctor Doom, I think like we're kind of passing over the fact that like this is also the mythology of Galactus. Like I don't think any of these elements existed before. I might be wrong, but like the fact that he's a survivor of another universe, he's basically the Superman of the previous universe. Like he's coming from Krypton, and projected into our universe and gestated and goes around eating planets and stuff. Like those parallels, they're interesting choices. John Byrne did a extensive. Yeah, they had a magazine, Epic Illustrated, and within Epic Illustrated for like several issues, a month to month to month, it never got finished. He was telling this like this story, this Galactus story. He has a Galactus story, and you know, written, illustrated, inked, all that shit by John Byrne, unfinished. And so he has sort of a fascination with it, and he also has like that parallel with Superman is very interesting to me. I think there's, I don't know, I don't know what to think of it other than to identify that there's a parallel. But I like Byrne's a guy I want to unearth. Like he's such a pervert, such a fucking pervert, and a weirdo, and a control freak, and like he's one of a kind, and he's insane. He's fucking insane. And like a guy that weird and that interesting, like that, I'm there for that. And I would love to, I don't know, I'd love to figure that out, you know, like solve that puzzle. I know I never will, but
I don't know. This was such a weird choice, everything in it.
Yeah. And they get like this cosmic awareness at the end. To what fucking, you know, just like, oh, problem solved. Like, Reed has not really actually proven one thing or the other. It's just revealed that like Reed's so smart that he has some sort of access to the power, like true cosmic awareness. And fucking shut up.
Yeah, like it's just like sort of unlocked the latent power, but.
Yeah. And to the unknowable, let the cosmic truth be told. And like, honestly, I just feel that this whole story is a response to fan letters. And it's just kind of like, shut up. What, you idiots, you fucking comic nerd assholes. Do you need God to show up and say that Reed Richards is right? Very well. Here we go. That's it. and that's what he did. Whether or not he thought that's what he was doing and the reason for it, but at this, who's going to argue?
Not me.
Yeah. What about Galactus Watcher? Is his task ended now?
Such things are known to me, Galactus.
Yeah, and he posits that the only person that has no free will, deprived of that freedom, is Galactus. You know, like there's, I don't know. Again, he's trying to humanize in the Chris Claremont Magneto way these great villains of the Silver Age. I think that's pretty cool. You know, he's doing it in his own way. He's doing it very idiosyncratically. He's got a good grasp of stuff, and then he shits the bed. I love that.
That's the best.
Yeah. He's like, something cool. Just gotta take a big shit.
There's a lot of people that just take big shits without doing something cool. So, I mean,
there we go. He's just like, man, doing something cool is half the battle, and then nobody remembers the big shit you took after that. Because like nobody remembers these stories like for what they actually are. They just remember the big beats, you know.
So this is a disappointment to you, then, based on your first issue.
Oh, I see. Everything that followed from it, yeah. Like I think I've read a lot of John Byrne's Fantastic Four. I hadn't read we're pulling from volume 4 of the Marvel Visionaries collections or whatever. You know, he has like 6 volumes. You know, I think I have the first 2. And yeah, some of these they're good. Like I really love his art. I like what he's up to. I don't think they're exceptional comics. They're really not. It's such a shame. Like so much effort and time, and but a lack of greatness, which just haunts John Byrne, like a specter. You know, like what could have been is just like non-existent. He needed a writer, or he needed an inker. You know, he needed some collaborators, but like yeah.
It's true. Imagine if 50% of his time was put back on art.
Yeah.
That's sort of.
Oh yeah, of course. It would be fantastic. It would no pun intended. Yeah. I think it would be exceptional because like a lot of the appeal of these comics is like the precocious nature of the art, but the stories are cool, but they're not cool enough. Like they're kind of hokey. He's going for like an old timey quality to it. He's trying to like, what do we do? How do we get that Lead Ditko energy back? But like, I don't know if that's the energy. I don't know if that's the question you need to ask, dude. Like, you can do that and still be modern. Yeah, but like that's John Byrne all over. He's a real retro guy. Like, what's the most recent thing that he's been doing is like that I'm aware of, and there's probably a bunch of stuff that I'm not aware of. But the last thing I knew, he did a photo comic of Star Trek, the original series. So he took old images from, and this is something he spent his time doing. He took old images of Star Trek, the original series, and he collaged them in the form of a comic book and put captions. And if that sounds really tedious, it's like I can't imagine the tediousness required to create it, and I cannot describe the tediousness that follows reading it. And this is what this guy wants to do. And so, yeah, like if he has a retrogressive quality that lacks energy or true modern, you know, like what's the difference between John Byrne and Frank Miller? It's like, well, one of them has an attitude and the other one just wants to like wear diapers. It's and like
that's fair.
Yeah. That's kind of a horrible summation of someone's creative existence. But
no. If you have a creative existence, you have to, you're going to take criticism.
That's fine. You wear diapers, Byrne. Like live with it. You don't. You're not a. Maybe that'll be the end of the episode. But I'm curious about this question. You're not a big Fantastic Four fan. How do you feel now after having read these issues, though? Like, is there anything in the FF that
interests me?
Like anything changed at all?
No.
Other than the
no. If anything, compounded, reinforced.
Yeah.
Reinforced a general dislike of the Fantastic Four. It's a fucking tough property. I don't know. I stand by that. Like I have a hard time with it. Like I think part of it is that I don't empathize or enjoy Reed Richards in any way, shape, or form. I find him kind of a slimy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the leader of their team, and everybody else is like sort of a B supporting guy, just lovable, depressed rock guy. Why'd me get turned into a monster? Oh, Johnny Storm. Oh, the ladies love me. Flame on. And then Sue's got fucking force field powers and a halfway decent intellect, and she's like, oh, my husband's a kind of a piece of shit. Like, that's it. That's it. That's it in its entirety, and it's so fucking one dimensional that changing it at this point doesn't even seem possible. So people keep trying to rehash it, and like, what do you rehash? There's nothing unique going on. Like,
it is very much challengers of the unknown with a family. Like it's in that old adventure DC comic, and that was the point. But the other run that's relatively good in comparison to this is Mark Waid's run, and I'd like to take your temperature on that one. Maybe you'd feel a little different.
I'm all ears. I'll take a ride on that. I'm interested. Like, I'll read any Fantastic Four stories. I even have a book on my shelf. Can't remember who that is. I think Brian Hitch is the artist.
Oh, that's Mark Millar. That's a special beast. If it's the one there's.
I don't know, but the Fantastic Four, just, I don't know. I struggle with it. I think it's because the ideas behind the family are so stupid that there's no way to reinvent it. Like, it's like almost like it's not possible to be rebooted because all the dynamics of the family rely on this sort of like same hokum. And then it's just like you can't evolve from it. You can't just be like, it's not like Wolverine where I can be like, oh, I can do this or I can do that or I can do this. It's like, no, you're stuck. Reed's Reed. He's Gumby.
That's the same hokum. Yeah, man. You know what? I hear you. I guess there's another run that I think. Then you end up in the Jonathan Hickman territory, and whether or not that's a good run is question of taste. I think Matt Fraction also interesting stuff, but it had none of the Fantastic Four in it.
Good move.
Yeah, it was basically like, let's focus on some other characters and call it the Fantastic Four, which has been done from time to time. John Byrne was one of the first people to do it. Yeah, I hear you, man. Like, I guess I'm a sucker for the hokum. I think if you're into the pervert suit comics,
oh yeah, it's not like
yeah.
You gotta have some give. If like, I'm not asking for like a miracle every time. I'm just saying, like, I don't. It's hard to even modernize it outside of
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is Leave It to in spandex is kind of the and then if you want to modernize it, like, so you got the two options. You got the Jim Lee or Stan Lee Kirby era where it's like, come to Papa. I've been sharing some of these images to you where, like, like Reed is just like a real 1950s husband. Just abusing his wife or emotion. Don't! Oh, you're a big bully. You have that. It's so, or you have marital strife. for the drama, and that's fucking sucks. Then you're like, that's no good.
I know that barks up the same tree as Spider-Man Mary Jane divorces.
Yes.
It's like,
yeah.
I don't want to fucking read this story. Like, I don't care about that. That's not interesting.
Yeah, that's the soap opera I do not want to read.
And it's fine. Like, I get the angle for it. It's there is an exciting way to do that angle, but it's like it's very much like that's less interesting than Tony Stark being a drunk. It's like there's a breakup, and what fucking Peter's gonna have a 5 o'clock shadow and do a bad job fighting bad guys because he's depressed.
Yeah, maybe get back with Mary Jane one day, and then all the emotional stakes are drained from the series again.
Yeah,
and you were better off not having like it was better. I hate to be one of those guys to say, but I think like Spider-Man works better when he has like a bunch of girlfriends, when he's just just banging a bunch of chicks, and fussing about it.
Yeah, or else or else, you know what? Or else if you're gonna do it, commit. You know what? Like, I don't want to read a run-of-the-mill fucking divorce story. I can get that on the TV. Like, strip him down to his underwear, have him get drunk, and strangle off her new suitor.
Oh wow. yeah.
Give me something with some meat on its bones,
Yeah, and then the regret, and then that will be his Uncle Ben moment. That's the Uncle Ben moment for him. He was like, "Oh, great power requires great responsibility."
Oh yeah, he has a flashback, and he's standing in her kitchen with like a soiled Spider-Man shirt on and his tighty whities. What have I done? What have I done?
Never again.
Rick wasn't even that bad of a guy, and then he's got to fucking bury him. Bury him out in the yard.
Yeah, dark.
Maybe Logan catches him, lights up a cigarette in the dark. How's it feel, son?
Yeah. No, that's Gambit. That's Gambit.
Not my first grave. Oh, mon cher.
Mon cher, you find yourself here, I see.
Looks like you could use a kindred spirit.
I know we have a Gambit episode in the distant future, but I'm thinking like this is a good place, like metatextually for Gambit to exist. Like when heroes like reach their soap opera limit and have to reboot in a dark way.
the spirit of fucking Gambit's like once you've hit rock bottom, he just appears to you.
Yeah.
This is one of his mutant powers that we weren't aware of.
Yeah. That's like, he's like Charon, through the river Styx. Carries you to the other end.
Mon ami, care for a game of Go Fish? Oh, fuck off. This is the end for me, isn't it? Gambit's here.
The end long ago, mon ami.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.